Moral and social issues were high on the agenda for Anabaptist evangelists. Their message included, indeed often started with, issues of morality rather than theology. This might take the form of criticising the low moral standards in society and in the state churches, or it might hold out the prospect of a holy life. Godwin writes, "There was a consistent theme in Anabaptist texts on evangelism. The evangelistic appeal was not only an invitation to God's salvation, but a call to be committed to God's people and God's way of living." He notes the many references in Anabaptist writings to the church as the bride of Christ. We explored this in an earlier unit, which expressed their yearning for a faithful and pure community in the midst of what they regarded as a corrupt society. It was to this that they invited people. The missionary proclamation included a clear moral imperative to enter into a changed life, learning which could necessarily take place in the brotherhood. Dyke concludes, 16th century Anabaptist witness often began at the point of personal morality. To follow Christ meant to adopt a disciplined, almost ascetic style of life. However, the evidence suggests social and economic issues were as much in evidence as matters of personal morality. Ambrosius Spittelmeyer, who was commissioned by Hutt and travelled around Austria and Germany before it being executed in 1528, summarised his message during his trial. "When I or someone else meets someone who is not of our faith, I just ask him whether he is a Christian, what his Christian walk is, how he conducts himself towards his brother, whether he has all things in common with others and they again with him, whether any among them lack food and clothing, whether they have brotherly discipline among themselves, how they conduct themselves towards God in the use of all created things, and how they recognize God and Christ in them," etc. It seems that this was a very attractive message to many people in the 16th century. Roth gives an example from later in the century. In a public disputation in Wädenswil near Zurich in 1589, Hans Landis expressed little interest in questions about theology and focused on Christian morality. He began by citing the dramatic conversion of a well-known villager who had earlier given himself over to laziness, gluttony and drunkenness, until he encountered the Anabaptists. Once he joined the Anabaptists, the man had changed his life in accordance with the teachings of Scripture, Landis claimed. Landis also reported that the local Anabaptist congregation was struggling to cope with the flood of inquirers drawn to it by their lifestyle. Can you imagine taking this approach in 21st century evangelism? Might ethical and lifestyle issues be a helpful starting point in talking about faith?